the idea of forgiveness, hearing it from the Amish, and it's like one of those first nights laying in bed thinking, wow, if they're forgiving my son, do I forgive my son? I was so angry with what he had done. And yet the realization that if I chose not to forgive him, I would have the same hole in my heart that he had. He was full of bitterness and anger. And I knew that that was something I had to forgive him, because I didn't want to live with bitterness toward my son. And so yes, I did forgive him early on. And it is not automatic or without pain when we forgive. Forgiveness frees us to move forward, but it doesn't take away all the pain. It just helps us to know how to navigate the next step. Well, I remember the first day that we were all gathered together, the two, our families and all the Amish families were gathered together at Bart Fire Hall. I think it was about 5 or 6 weeks after the happening. Our relationship started as I sat next to Amos and Kate Ebersol, who had lost their only daughter that day. And it's my husband, myself, Amos, and Kate. And just the mingling of our tears as we would be sitting there and just glance at one another, and to know that we were both experiencing the worst kind of sorrow that you can feel, losing family members. And just that day just started something stirring in me that I want to get to know these folks better. We visited each family, and each visit was so different, but so rich in getting to know them. And then in the summertime, we had a picnic, and they all came. And Junior, the oldest boy in the schoolhouse at the time, who's 22 now, he came up to me at the end of the picnic, and I knew he was suffering from anorexia, just feeling like he had the survivor syndrome of feeling like he should have done something to stop my son. That young man came up at the end of the picnic, held out his hand and said, "Mrs. Roberts, thank you so much for inviting us to your home. I had such a good time here today." There's a 14-year-old kid. I was like, wow, this is amazing that he's willing to come to my house. And then to actually express that he enjoyed himself here, it was just, I don't know, that day was just so precious. They all arrived in a yellow school bus, and it was just so amazing.